What's up? It's the Brunch Breakdown. Didi out here in Los Angeles. Chris and Dan are in Pittsburgh. And today on the show, we've got a lot to talk about. Of course, we're going to talk Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, and a lot of things surrounding that. And I have a question for the boys. So we're going to go into that. Cam Ward, Miami Hurricanes quarterback, bought his lineman $2 million worth of jewelry. We're going to chat about that as well. And we're going to get to Chris's microwave drama because he brought it back up again this week. And we need to talk about it. And we got music, we got beer, we got more. It's the Brunch Breakdown. Dan, let everybody know where they can find it.
Everywhere podcasts are available. That's where you can find the Brunch Breakdown. We give you new episodes every week. They come out every Wednesday. So just hit follow or hit subscribe wherever you prefer to listen to podcasts. We appreciate you. Hit follow, subscribe. That episode's going to come right to you. Be ready to listen to on the go whenever you'd like. We have full video episodes as well. Those premiere on our YouTube page, Facebook page, and on Spotify. Even Spotify is changing up the little looks a little bit. You get a little thumbnail in there now. You can see the videos there. You can still listen to the audio on Spotify as well. Those, however, premiere at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, but of course on demand anytime you'd like to watch after that as well. Everywhere on social media at Brunch Breakdown. And of course, you could find The Sounds of Brunch. It's a beautiful playlist we put together for you on Spotify, exclusively on Spotify. We give you what we're listening to this week. We keep last week's on there for you as well. And that is updated every single Friday for your listening pleasure.
Beautiful.
Have you guys noticed the max, not max, first of all, that's not even the word that I meant to say. The semi mass exodus from Twitter X over to that blue sky
Yes.
thing?
Yes, I have. People are shifting.
I've seen it.
Shifty shifters.
My Twitter following went down pretty significantly, like right after the election, because a lot of people just deleted the app and went over to Blue Sky. So I'm like, personally, I made an account over there just to see what's going on. And is this gonna be like Threads where we have to try it out for a little while?
This list is getting long, friends.
I know Dan's running
Kill
out
me.
of characters over there.
Yeah.
I was honestly happy. I'm actually happy you mentioned that because you were the person I was going to reach out to about it. So I'm happy you mentioned it because I'm like, I know Chris has to be everywhere. So I don't know, dude. Everyone thinks that whatever it is that Trump has, Truth Social, is just going to be bought by Twitter, and it's going to be and they're just going to weave right into that, and people are running away. Which I thought big people were going to just run everyone. That this was going to be the moment everyone jumped to Threads, but no, we've got another thing. Yay!
Well, remember Threads happened, and then everybody was like, "Oh, this is so cool. This feels like what Twitter was a decade ago." And then it was that way for a month, and then everybody just stopped using it. And so I went over to Blue Sky and I created an account. And the vast majority of what I'm seeing over there is this app is great. It's just like what Twitter was 10 years ago. And so I feel like I'm just going through, I'll hang out, I'll see what's going on. But yeah, I don't know.
Yep. That's what's just going to happen with social media. It's not going to go away like a lot of people have thought. It's oh, social media is going to be gone in so many years. No, we're just going to keep creating new things and then saying, oh man, this is what Instagram was like 10 years ago. Oh man, this is what Vine was like 10 years ago. Oh man. Yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. So great. America.
I hate it. I hate it.
Kill it, guys, because they're crushing it. All right. It is time to get random top. Actually, you know what? Let's go to beer and then go to chess because we can go from chess right into the main menu. So let's get some beer. Chris, what you got?
Yeah, Dan, what was I drinking yesterday? What was it?
Something you should have.
Oh, yeah. It was the
apricot
tea ale.
Ale, yes. From Hitchhiker.
Apricot tea ale?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
My wife made us buy it, and I was pleasantly actually surprised. I thought I was not going to like it at all. This past week was kind of crazy, so we didn't have time to go out and get anything for the tailgate this weekend. So we just rolled into the parking lot this week with some apricot tea ale. And
Yeah.
from Hitchhiker, I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I expected something because I'm not a big like I like hot tea. I'm not a big like iced tea or peach tea or any of that other like I'm not a big fan of those types of drinks. So I was kind of expecting that flavor profile, but it was much more of like an ale with like maybe a little bit of apricot. I never know how to say the word. Um, so yeah, I enjoyed it. I was shocked, maybe the most shocking beer surprise of 2024. Apricot tea ale from Hitchhiker. Shout out.
Yeah, the triple exposure is the name from Hitchhiker. Conditioned on apricot, peach, oolong tea, and peaches. So apricot, peach, oolong tea, and peaches. And yeah, Chris, you held that. I was like, this is not a you beer at all. It was a delightful little surprise for you. So I'm glad.
This isn't
I'm glad.
a you beer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great. It was great.
Man. So mine's pretty simple. Sam's got their winter stuff out. The cold snap is out and about, and I just love it. So shouts to Sam Adams and their seasonal pack, man. I just never gets old for me. And it's out.
Yeah.
And I saw it and I was like, snatching up a sixer. Let's get it.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. For me this week, actually, it was a beer-free week for your boy here, which is really, really odd. Really, really odd.
Yeah, Didi is getting choked up over there. My God.
Look at him. He's literally
You can't just spring this stuff on
not
us, Dan.
well. Yeah. But I did have something unique that I wanted to share. Big fan of the Moscow Mule over here. And I was at a place that does mead the other night that specializes in mead, Kingview Mead, and they did a mead mule. And what you do, it's a classic Moscow Mule kind of recipe. You're still getting the vodka and the lime and the ginger beer, but then you choose your mead flavor to add to the mule. And I went with the apple pie, of course. So it was an amazing apple pie, fall perfect Moscow Mule that I made myself. I picked out myself. I didn't make it. They're behind the bar. They made it, but it's mine now. And so it was delicious.
I don't know. That feels like
What is
classic
so
Dan.
funny.
It feels like classic Dan, even though it's not. But it's just like Dan's like, well, I didn't have any beer this week, so decided to get into some mead. Like that's like the most. It's like such a
left turn, November's mead season around here.
yeah,
And
like what a hipster alcohol move you made there.
Dude, okay. So as someone who just spent like 5 days with Dan and Shannon, like they are so perfect for each other because that's the shit that comes out of their mouth all the time. Like it's like, oh yeah, like not drinking beer tonight, but there's this random lemon thing that comes in this really skinny bottle that I just love it. Like, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
I'm like, so what do we talk? Like, what? Like, dude, the words that come out of their mouths when you're drinking is hilarious. Like, it's so funny. It's like, wow, like you really did find the perfect person at emo night in Lawrenceville.
Yeah.
Like, how on earth, like, just, like, everything happens for a reason when you're around. You just like, wow, I got it. Like someone was like, the universe was like, these two people need to be put in a room and we just need to not let them leave there until they see each other.
Right.
Like every other person
babe.
in this, like, yeah, we get two attractive people in the room. Everybody else is busted. These people have to talk to each other. That's what we're doing. Like I don't know how, but my God. But yeah, that's the shit that comes out of it. It's just hilarious.
Yeah.
To me.
They have it. The lemon cardamom carrot thing. They have it. They have it. Remember that one? Yeah.
Dude, that's actually a true story. That actually happened at a bar we were at, and it was and the bar is dark. We could barely see
Very
each
dark.
other in this place, and because it's a speakeasy thing, and Shannon spots this bottle that's really small on the other side, and I'm like, huh? My vision is not that great. Like, I don't know how you even saw it from over there. And then like he brings it over. Then yeah, just
Amazing. Yep.
hysterical.
Just a night.
Man.
Just a night in the town with the Knops.
Right.
That's all.
Well, cheers,
Yeah.
boys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Alrighty. Well, let's get the random topics off our chest. Chris, go for it, man. What you
All
got?
right.
What's on your mind?
This is kind of like a question for you guys while I share some thoughts. I'm curious
Love it.
to know, like, what eventually, and I say eventually will because, well, let me ask the question first. What will eventually be the thing that causes football to lose some popularity? That's my question to you guys, and I'll let you think about this while I talk. Because every sport eventually cycles back down, right? Like boxing used to be the shit. Okay. Not so much anymore, but it still has a niche audience. Baseball, it's called America's pastime because it used to be the shit. Now it's a bit less popular than some other sports. In the 90s, man, hockey was on top of its game until it wasn't. And I have a guess because I feel like this is something people talk about all the time. Like, oh, this is ruining the sport. That's ruining the sport. Oh, I'm done. I'm not going to watch any, all this stuff. People say stuff all the time. But it just keeps getting more popular. I think that like we might get to a point with like the prevalence of online gambling for sports that like people get will get at some point disenfranchised with it. And like this happens in every game across the sport. Obviously, I'm hyper focused on the college football team that I follow. And by no means do I think like what I'm about to talk about decided the game. But like the way I've seen officiating in the pit games and then like even other games that I've been watching throughout the year, it is starting to make me think like, okay,
A little
what's go
sus.
what's go what's going on here? Like, dude, 2 weeks ago, Pitt actually did in part lose a football game because the other team was given 5 downs. Like it was a very under the radar game, and so like most people probably didn't even see it. But like there was a fourth down that happened, and Virginia got stopped, and then they just played a fifth down. They just said, "Oh, well, no, that just kidding. That didn't. We're not going to count." They actually said, "We're not going to count that. We're going to do it again." And they and so obviously you're like, what the hell is happening? Yesterday in the game that we watched, I actually thought a number of calls that went in Pitt's favor were like pretty sus. Like there was a hit to the quarterback that changed the trajectory of a drive that resulted in points for Pitt, where like the guy just hit him. He hit him in the chest. He hit him exactly the way that you're telling guys to hit. And like you go to the Big 12 in West Virginia's conference, like every single Big 12 game I watch, it's like, hold on a second. Like I saw the line. I saw the betting line before this game. And then you're gonna call that. I just like I think at some point that if there's anything to me that's gonna hurt the popularity of the sport, because at this point I'm out of figuring out what it's going to be. You used to think it was like all the things you couldn't do to the quarterback anymore, but it's just getting more popular, rule changes, all this type of stuff. None of that seems to make, and so I'm just thinking like at some point do people really start to wonder like how much of this is like who's really pulling strings on this stuff? Because this football season, more than any, there have just been too many times where, and like, did you see the BYU Utah thing that happened last week? And then their AD came out and he was like, we, like, you cost, like that was a rigged game. He came out and said, like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's just I think it's going to keep happening more and more. And maybe at some point people get disenfranchised by it. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Is there anything that can reduce the popularity?
That was the first thing that came to my mind, Chris, was the gambling element. And even to the point where it gets involved with players, and then you start to think that players are making decisions within games. We've certainly seen our fair share of players getting suspended for their just general gambling in the, in the team facility and stupid stuff like that. But like, if something comes out, Pete Rose, right? And maybe maybe not that big of a name, but where we think that players are making decisions or coaches are making decisions that have to do with the gambling of the game. I think that's the one thing. But if I had to give you something second to that, I think where we eventually get to the place where broadcast rights are just a big shit show and we're paying to watch per game
Yeah.
or something like that, I think that's people are going to get sick of that. People are already getting sick of the cost for streaming and things like that. They're already at that point. We've had this discussion about how everybody was cord cutting. We were like, guys, remember cable? It was a lot simpler back then. We all didn't want it. I think that could hurt. And especially if you look at the NFL and what they're doing internationally, they're going to like sell an international game package now is what they're eventually going to get to. I think just the more cost could draw some people away, if not for the gambling thing. That was the first thing that came to my mind.
I don't think everything you're saying is founded in all that. And there's been players in the NBA that have been suspended for gambling, like players on the team. There's been players in the MLB that have been suspended for gambling in whatever ways, but they leave that stuff like kind of out. And even the NBA put there's a restriction on who you can bet on. Because remember, we talked about the Jonte Porter dude last year. They put a restriction, like you can't do player props on people who have like two-way contracts, which means like they're half in the NBA, half in the G League. You can't do props on like, oh yeah, this guy who's on a two-way contract is going to score 0 points this game. Like, it was like there were props that were like he's gonna score 0.5 points. Like that would be the over-under. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So that dude could literally just go out there. He could actually get in the game, go out there for like 1 second, and just be like, "Yeah, I'm passing the ball, please."
Extra pass, coach.
Yeah, like, get out of here. It's like, oh man, that was the shot clock. I had no idea. Dang, man. Shoot, I tried to shoot. I swear. But no, what I think if there's anything that will get football, it's someone's got to die on the field. We almost had it. I'm happy we didn't. Yeah. Shouts to Damar Hamlin out there playing. But I think that's the only thing that will do it. Because like football is still the biggest sport. When you were in high school, that is where everyone goes. That is the sport that everyone can relate to. That is why it is the most annoying sport to talk about with anyone, because every single person who ever put on a football uniform feels like they know something about football. It's not true. It's just what happens because so many people played it. Because football is the one sport that you can go through whatever till 12th grade and never get cut. There's no cuts in football. In basketball, you figure out at some point that you're not good. You just you figure it out. There's only 12 spots. You know what I mean? You might even be good. It's just like, hey man, you were the 13th best player at your high school. Like, sorry, that sucks. But like football, that doesn't exist. It doesn't. So like so many people just grow up playing football. And like, and that's why football has the stranglehold here in America, nowhere else, just here. Like, because there's just no cuts. You got to be good at soccer. You got to be good at baseball. You got to be good at basketball. You got to be good at cheerleading. You got to be good at everything. Football, you do not have to be good. You just need to be a body that is like, hey man, can you get hit? Come on. That's why football coaches are always walking around high school just like, hey, you're tall. You want to play? Hey, you look like you want to play. Like, that's why they're always doing it, because they just need bodies. They don't care if you're good or not.
Well, this will interest you to know that I was cut playing football.
Chris is the anomaly.
I was, but it's not what you think. I was cut by my mom. She said you're not allowed to play. She said you're not allowed to play anymore.
Head coach.
Yeah, he was above the head
coach.
Well, I'll just share one more example because this one slipped my mind when I was talking about it initially. There was a play yesterday where our quarterback got punched in the face, and then like he was punched in the face so hard that he like wandered about the field looking concussed until he fell over, and they didn't throw a flag. But then like there was a stoppage, perhaps because he was like kind of injured on the play. They went to commercial, and then when they came back, they threw a flag. And I'm just like, bro, like,
no joke.
You can't do
no joke.
That. And like that benefited us again, but like you can't review a penalty that you didn't call and then call it after 15 minutes.
It was minutes had gone by, and then the flag was at the other end of the field.
Yeah, man.
Like 20 yards away from the play, and it was almost like somebody dropped it. You're like, oh, I forgot we threw this flag, didn't we? One of you guys, right? I think they were fearing for their life because I was like, they're gonna start throwing shit. I was like, people are gonna start throwing shit.
Yeah, man.
Because it was bad.
And you guys know me. I have never been upset about a penalty that benefits my team. But this year, I've been sitting in the stands at our home games being like, this isn't right.
What is going on?
Yeah.
And dude, with all the gambling, you can't help but think that every time you see something. It just feels it.
Right.
You just are like,
exactly.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. All right. I'm going to get this off my chest, boys. I was going to talk Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. What I do want to talk about is also college football related. The Heisman race this year might be the most exciting Heisman race we've had since the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Would you like to know why? Because quarterbacks aren't in the conversation. There's no quarterbacks in the conversation. It's the best thing ever. Quarterbacks, I want to say quarterbacks are terrible, but that's not true. I just want to say that quarterbacks are just boring. Like, we always say that Tom Brady's the GOAT, right? Where I was like, oh yeah, Tom Brady's the GOAT. Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT. These people are the GOAT. But like, when years go by, are you going to show your kids, oh man, let me show you these Tom Brady highlights?
Well, yeah, you will because of who's on the other end of it.
Yeah, it's going to be like, let me show you these Randy Moss highlights, right? You're not going to be showing me Tom Brady highlights. Like, I'm going to be showing you I'm going to show you like Barry Sanders or Reggie Bush in college or whatever. And it's so awesome to have freaking Travis Hunter doing all the things that he's doing, playing like 800 snaps a game, which makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense when you watch a Colorado game. I watched most of that game yesterday, and he's jumping up, like mossing people on a catch. Then he's getting an interception. Then he's taking an end around into the end zone. I'm like, it makes no sense. Like this Austin Genty kid, Boise State has nothing else.
Yeah.
Nothing else. He's like 300 yards a game, and that's it.
Like, they're like, oh, it's an 8-man box. I swear, when you're watching that game, they're not even guarding the receivers. There's 12 people looking at him. No one is it's insane. And it's so awesome that this year, it's like you've got these two guys up there, and it's like Dylan Gabriel. I've watched Oregon a couple times. You're fine. Like, whatever. You're nothing. Like, but it's just cool to have other people in other positions doing stuff, because all the other positions in football are so much more interesting to watch. And especially when you have something like the Heisman that over the past, decade or so, it's just been quarterback after quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. And like, there's very few that there was something that like made them stand out to you. And these two are just awesome. So like, college football, Heisman race, shouts to you. And so thumbs up to the Heisman race, thumbs down to everybody doing the college football playoff ranking show every week, because I'm so confused with all the numbers that they have on the screen.
Dan and I were talking about that yesterday.
So it's like so confusing.
They give you a top 12, but it's like, but that's not what the bracket would be. So it's like, then just give us the bracket. Like, what are we talking about?
You had 3 years to get all this shit right. And then we've done this show for 3 weeks or 2 weeks now. And it's just like, oh yeah, Georgia's 12. That makes sense. Wait, where's Georgia? First team out. I'm confused. What the fuck's going on? It's just, there's so many numbers on the screen. I'm like, dude, you guys had all this time to get this straightened out. And then they're breaking it down on game day. They're like, oh no, I know you guys were a little confused. I'm like, we've been doing this for 2 weeks. But yeah, anyways, shouts to college football. Exciting year.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, I'll get this off my chest, and I think it's going to segue perfectly into our first topic. I know we're going to talk the fight, of course, Paul Tyson. We'll get into that, but what I want to say is, Netflix, you have better get your shit together. You have better get your shit together, because the chaos of that stream Saturday night was an absolute disaster. All right. And we'll get into that. But I want to talk about how, even though it was hard for me to take this fight kind of seriously, anyways, given the circumstance and the ages and whatever, next Netflix made it really difficult for me to take it seriously at all. Like even in the slightest. Michael Irvin and Jerry Jones talking between fights. Well, who wants to hear from Jerry Jones and Michael Irvin about a boxing match? I don't care whose house we're in. Nobody wants that old bag of bones, half carcass up there, talking about what's going on and how great it is that it's happening.
Don't talk about
house.
Michael Irvin that way, Dan.
It makes no sense to me. And I'm like, all right, let's get past that. That's fine. Rosa Perez is part of the commentary team. Didi, maybe you can bring some insight into that. Why is she there? Why is she part of the commentary team? And I thought, okay, whatever. At least Roy Jones Jr. is there. He was terrible too. He was not good. He's not good at that job. He's really not. And I respect Roy Jones Jr. as a fighter, but I'm like, it sounds like I have Roy Jones Jr. on my couch. And he's just like, Tyson's looking wobbly. Yeah, I don't like his legs. I'm like, Roy and Rosa, not the tag team duo I needed on the commentary table. This was like an opportunity for Netflix to be like, to look at someone like Ariel Helwani, who maybe not a lot of boxing fans or MMA fans like know who he is. And he's really made his way up himself. And there's like an opportunity to showcase somebody in that position there that maybe you don't know of in those spots. But no, they gave it to Rosa Perez and Roy Jones Jr. because they were just happy to be there. Thanks, Netflix. And it would have been one thing if they're like, listen, we're going to like really focus on the tech side. We're really focusing on the tech. We want this to go off without a hitch. I'll tell you this. The NFL, who has 2 games on Netflix on Christmas Day, and the WWE, who's moving their flagship Monday Night Raw show to Netflix in January, both had to be thinking, what the hell is going on here? And now I will tell you, obviously this had a massive, massive audience, probably one that won't be surpassed by either of those things ever. But Netflix, it's 2024. We shouldn't be dealing with buffering anymore. Figure it out. Much more to talk about there, though. But I at least had to get those portions off my chest here today, boys.
Yeah, there was a report there were 65 million concurrent streams at the same time. And in comparison, the Tom Brady roast, which was the last live Netflix thing they did, had 2 million concurrent streams at the same time.
Ooh.
And so that's just a lot of people. And I was asking Siobhan, and this is like inside TV stuff. I was like, do you know whenever you're like shit's fucked up, or are you just like don't know until after? And she's like, oh no, you see it like right away. She's like, so someone at Netflix is like looking at it. So everyone at Netflix is in the control room, like losing their mind. Because they're like, we've done the test, we're ready for this. And then all of a sudden you just see it go down.
You ain't.
So like when everybody's talking about it going down, it's not like it's not down at Netflix and they think that it's like, no, you see your bandwidth just like basically crash. And it's like, you're trying to like build it back up and put it back on. She was like, every time it buffers, all she said, she was like, just thinking about how awful it had to be working there. And how awful it had to be for everybody, and how nobody went home that night. Like even after the fight was over, everyone was just like just dead, because this was a huge event. So you imagine it's like kind of like everyone's hyped for it. They've been doing getting all ready for it. Everyone's practiced. We've done all the tests. We've done everything. Everything's gonna go great, and then it goes like shit. And it's like there's gonna be hell to pay for some people on Sunday, and it was just so that was pretty yikes. But yeah,
bad.
They got to figure that out.
I did not watch because I mean I heard it didn't even start till like 11:15 or something like that. Like
I think it started. I think
it started
at midnight.
At midnight.
Okay,
yeah.
even worse. Yeah, I what I consumed of it was actually on a Pitt football message board the next day, and it was just a running thread of people commenting saying that this is the worst production value they've ever seen. And then once the fight got going on, they were like, "Why did I stay up for this?" So I'm glad I didn't stay up for it. Um, but yeah, I didn't even think about that, Dan. That's a great point. It's like, okay, well, there's other big shit coming.
Yeah.
So let this hopefully Netflix be your guinea pig to not mess this stuff up again. Um,
Yeah, like your pipe dreams of like having the Super Bowl on Netflix. That is not happening. That is not happening anytime soon.
Dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
As
And I know
far
that,
as
yeah, go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
go for it. Go for it.
No, and I know that like 65 million people's a lot. And I was like going back through that in my head, and I was like, if this Steelers Chiefs game is on Christmas Day,
That's gonna be a lot of
okay, and I'm
streams.
I'm specifically talking about this first game. It's a Christmas Day, so it's 10 here, one over there, and like
Mhm.
that game's just gonna be on as background noise in my house
Everywhere. Yeah.
everywhere.
And it's
So
like
I'm
two of the
like,
biggest brands. So
dude, seriously, and like we've already got family members deciding over Christmas and hanging out, seeing if Taylor Swift's gonna be at the game. Like, so
yeah.
like it's already something that's happening. That game's just gonna be on,
Mhm.
and it's on Netflix, which everyone already has. So like, I feel like it's gonna do bigger than that because of the day. If this were like a Thursday night game, if this were just a random Sunday night game, whatever, it's no, we're all home. And especially
Mhm.
us on the like, especially us on the West Coast, like we won't be gone yet. Like we're not, no one's going to any family's house at 10 o'clock in the morning. Like everyone's going to
Right.
be here. So like my kids are gonna be playing with toys and shit, and that game is just gonna be on my TV. So like, and I feel like there's gonna be so many millions of people where that is the situation going on Christmas Day. And if it's buffering for the NFL, whoa,
Ooh.
whoa, like
No, no.
whoa.
Can't have
So
it.
Netflix better be spending all that subscription money in the next month trying to figure this shit out. Cause yo,
And here's the thing. I was even getting more pissed that I was seeing the most trouble of it with it was a co-main event. The women's fight before Paul and Tyson was unbelievable. Like they were hyping this thing up that these women put on like one of the greatest fights in history a couple years ago, Madison Square Garden. Can they match it? I mean, holy shit. It was unreal. I was so pissed. I had missed like most of the first 3 rounds of it because of the buffering issue, but it was like one of the best fights. I'm not a huge boxing guy, DD, you are, but that fight was unbelievable. And I was getting, I think, more mad then that I was missing out on that fight, knowing that the thing that I'm waiting for might not last that long anyways. So a little buffer here, buffer there might not be
yeah.
might make that much of a difference.
Anyone who talked to me about that fight beforehand, I was like, Serrano Taylor too is the reason why you turned in this fight. I'm a boxing fan. I know about Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. They're two of the best women's boxers ever. This might be both of their last fights too, because they're both like in their mid 30s now. But the best thing Jake Paul has done for boxing is introduce us to Amanda Serrano, and literally has made her career like she was already this awesome women's boxer, and then like all of a sudden like she took him seriously in the boxing, and like and when he was like training, and so he was like, I'm gonna make you a superstar, and then put her like she's on the undercard of every Jake Paul fight, and it just like become this huge superstar. And that fight was incredible, and I knew it was gonna be incredible. What happened next was what I thought it was gonna be. You know,
Yeah.
Were you
was
surprised it went the distance? Were you surprised?
yeah. I was surprised it went the distance because I thought it was gonna be stopped after a couple rounds. Like I thought that Mike wouldn't make it 8 rounds.
Same.
So Mike Tyson won the fight. Like he won.
Yeah, the fact that he
Because
made it the whole
8
distance.
rounds.
Yeah,
Like he's 58.
that was a big deal.
58 years old. What? Like I don't when he had his shirt off, I was like, "Oh my god, that's someone's father." It's like it's
And
sad.
those first two rounds, I was like, what year is this? Because Tyson looks like he's going to kill this man, and he's moving fast
Yeah.
at 58. I'm like, whoa. I was like, please don't exude all your energy right here. But he also knows if he's going to knock him out, it's going to happen early. And that's what he wanted to do. Get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
So that was like, oh boy, here we go. And then of course from round 3 on, kind of flipped the script a little bit, but impressive that he made it the distance. So, I was at the same time, I'm like, gosh, it's freaking 12:30. Let's get this over with. Like, thank goodness this isn't 12. Like, they went shortened time, shortened round count. Yeah, not sure if it was entirely worth it, but I'm glad Tyson didn't get knocked out. I'm glad he didn't get knocked down, knocked out. He didn't get embarrassed. So like, credit to him for doing that. Now he's like, are you this your last fight? And he's like, I don't know. I don't know.
No one's.
I don't know. I got it. I'm like, Mike, dude, hang it up, brother.
No one's doing that. But that leads me to my question for you guys. So Jake Paul, 27 years old, beat a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, who was one of the greatest boxers ever at a point in time. So I want to know, boys, pick an athlete, then let me know at what age do you think you could beat them in their sport?
Yeah. So you said Jake Paul's 27. As we frame this topic, let's just be clear that Mike Tyson, who is 58, his peak as a boxer was like between the ages of 20 and 23.
Yes. Yes.
He's 35 years past that.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm for whatever reason, I guess because this fight is top of mind, I started thinking about just like who is one of the scariest athletes I've ever seen, and when would I be comfortable going up against him? And James Harrison kept coming to mind for me because he's like probably the scariest football player I've ever seen. Maybe him or Ray Lewis, one of those two are probably like the two scariest football players I've ever seen. But like, I think I couldn't take him until he's in his 70s or 80s. Like, legitimately.
Oh yeah, 80s.
Because that dude is still on Instagram pushing 1,000-pound sleds. He loves to train. And so it's probably not the smartest athlete for me to pick. But again, he just kept coming to mind. So I think if you give me, but see, then it's like when he's 75, how old
you
am I?
You don't age.
Okay, so me right now or me in my prime?
You in your prime. Let's do it. Why not?
Yeah, in your prime, at your best.
We'll scale it back to like, I think from a endurance conditioning and strength perspective, probably like 32 is when I was at my best. If he's 75 and I'm 32, maybe.
Maybe. Soft maybe.
Soft maybe.
Yeah. Dan?
One of the first athletes that came to mind was Tiger Woods. And I honestly don't know if there's a number. Like whenever he's in the ground. But the way that his body is breaking down makes me think that when Tiger turns 75, I think I got a shot. I think I got a shot when Tiger turns 75 at the rate the body is unfortunately breaking down. And at first I thought maybe 70, and I'm like, no, it's still Tiger Woods. Like, it's murder me in the short game. Like, there's no way. There's even at a broken down 70. But like, if his body wasn't breaking down, he'd have to hit at least 80. At least 80 if he had a back and legs to stand on, literally. But like, honestly, because like, especially with golf, depending on how you play, it can not be that big of a wear and tear in your body, which is why you can play it for so long. But Tiger Woods didn't play it that way, which is why he won't be able to play it that long, which is why it'll take for me that long to beat him.
And that's kind of the thought process I have with James Harrison too. It's like at some point, all of these sled pushes it's gonna come back to bite him. And then when it does, then I could capitalize. So for you just need to wait to play Tiger until that one drive just zonks his back for good. Because his knees and hips are they're already done. Okay. He's already It's like when the dew point is too high at Augusta, he has to back out because of his arthritis. Like, he's not doing well. Okay. So you just need
Right.
that one forceful drive, his last forceful drive, and then Dan swoops in. Say, hey, you want to
And I'm
play,
in there.
Tim?
I'm ready. Yeah, yeah.
Go
See,
get over to Lindenwood.
the only worry that I have about this, is that like Tiger Woods is the greatest we've ever seen. Like he is excellent. He is perfect. But what is Tiger Woods like on a random Wednesday at the par three in your hometown? Is he just fucking around? Is he not as serious? Is he not doing all the things that he does? He's not switching his swing.
Right.
It's like because golfers switch their swing a lot. They do all that shit, and it's mainly because of like perfection, right? They like want to figure out a more perfect way to do this. But when they're just hanging out with the boys, drinking beers and just playing golf, what is Tiger Woods like then? And so that's my worry about Tiger Woods being like 89 and just still being able to wax people because he knows the easy way to play golf.
Yeah.
He just
Hmm.
doesn't do it that way. And at some point, he's going to have to do that. Because,
Yeah.
yeah, I
That's
thought
it.
about this with Steph Curry, right?
Mm.
Because I was like, what age would I have to be to beat Steph Curry in a horse? And the answer came up to no age.
Dude, because all he needs is this.
Like there's his shot is so perfect, and
Yeah.
it's just no age. I just think he'll be out there, like still giving people the business in horse at 100 years old. I just don't see how it's gonna happen. So here's what I got, guys. I will be able to beat Usain Bolt in a race when I was 18, and he is 87.
Okay.
I would be able to beat him in a race.
87.
87. Going with 87. It's the long strides that scare me. That he'll still be able to pick it up.
Wow.
That he'll still be able to pick it up. But no,
You think
87
it'll
is
take
probably
that
a lot,
long?
but maybe like 60. I'm going to go with 60 because I feel like he'll still be in enough shape to run like an 11-second 100. And like,
Yeah, I had
that
yeah,
spooks
I
me.
had Usain Bolt on my list, and I was going to ask you guys the same question, what you think it would be, and I think the number I came up with was probably at least 64, 65.
Yeah.
I think that's the youngest it could go if there's ever even a chance that you would
Yeah.
hope at that point. Like, because I was almost putting it into perspective as like, okay, Mike Tyson's 58. How many years after that is it going to have to be where it's like, okay, I think I could beat somebody at running 100 meters. Yeah, it'd have to be at least mid 60s.
Dee, what was your fastest 100?
10-7, and I felt like I was floating. It was the only time I ever broke. Is ever only time I ever did it. I never could do it again. Never did it again.
So
Fastest time ever.
I did a quick Google search, and some website says that uh, for like that age range, 80 to 100, 12 seconds is considered very, very fast for
Yeah.
that age of a person. So it seems like
Oh, yeah, okay.
you're on pace here.
And it's just, yeah, it makes me nervous. It would fully make me nervous. Like, because
I can't wait till what? How old is Usain Bolt now? Is he in his 40s?
I don't know.
Probably.
My late 30s or maybe early 40s or something. Let's check.
We do as we do this on air.
Very popular Google search.
38. Damn, still young. Damn, we're the same age. That makes me feel like shit. So I can't wait till 30 years from now when we're paying some stupid amount on some streaming service that hasn't been launched yet. And I guess we'll be the same age as Usain Bolt at the time. And we're paying to see him race some kid, some US track star, the big lead up to the hype. We're going to pay $50 to see a 10-second race is what we're going to do. It's going to turn into a freaking reality show. And like, that's going to be life. This type of shit, this is going to keep happening. And I hate it.
Oh man. Well, thanks, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. You guys are the greatest. Thanks for a good night. And just always remember, guys, that's a spectacle. It's entertainment. Order good food. You'll always be happy.
There you go.
You'll always be happy. All right. Cam Ward. Miami Hurricanes quarterback, also in the Heisman race, bought his lineman $2 million worth of chains that have their numbers on them. Beautiful chains. Boys, what do we think about this?
This screams Miami, first and foremost.
Yes.
Mhm.
This is a great reason to hate NIL. Just be honest with you. Because this is a great example of like what people say about why NIL is a problem is because these kids are just going to blow the money on something stupid and this is stupid. Like, bro, you as a football player are one hit away from no more career. From no more career. And if you put that money into a bunch of different things, high yield savings accounts, invest it properly. You don't have to work. What are you doing? Your lifetime flexibility is hanging around the neck of a 350-pound offensive lineman right now. You are a moron. This is so stupid. But like, obviously, when you're 20, you don't have the foresight to do that. And so I hate it. I hate it. I sound like an old man. I don't give a shit. Okay. It's stupid. It is absolutely stupid. I hope he has a career where he can earn a lot of money and it doesn't end up being a thing at all. But like, one hit, bro. One hit.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. And he's not even like his NFL status is kind of like, oh, we don't know. He'll be in one of the first he'll be in the first 2 days, maybe. Not the first day, probably the second day. So like, yeah, life afterwards, you could be sitting on benches for years to come, my friend. I will say this. It was smart if he's going to give his offensive lineman gifts, smart to do it mid-season rather than after the season. I'll say that because there was like kind of a little string there where he was being sacked 3 times, 4 times, 3 times, 3 times. He's probably like, maybe if I, buddy these buddies up a little bit, maybe we'll get a little better protection down the stretch, right? And then they lose to Georgia Tech. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I will say this: there are many people highly speculative of the dollar amount being thrown around that these necklaces cost.
No, Dan, no.
Highly speculative that it didn't actually cost $2.1 million, especially given what he's getting paid in NIL.
Everything about money in Miami is legit. That can't be right.
Did you see them? Did you see them when they zoomed in closely?
You saying those might
closely?
be cubic zirconia?
Cubic zirconias. Yeah. Yes.
It's
Yes.
cubic gate.
When I saw them, the first thing I thought was, my God, like
You got ripped off.
buying people jewelry that isn't a watch is so stupid.
You gotta go to
So
Jacob.
dumb.
You gotta go to Jacob the jeweler. You make sure it's legit.
It's so stupid because like there's a time when you were a young person and you think that is cool. And that time period ends when you're like 24. So they're going to wear that for like a year or two and then it's over. You don't see many adults wearing their football number around their neck. That is something you do when you play sports, when your aunt buys you a necklace with your number on it when you're like 8 years old, and then it stops. If you stop playing sports, it stops at like when you're done. And nobody makes the NFL or the NBA or the NHL or whatever. So 23.
Yeah.
We're done here.
Whenever you put your letter jacket in the attic, it's like right around the same time.
Yeah. It's like,
yeah. Does the necklace come with a matching pin for your mommy to put on her coat when she's watching you?
Football mom.
Because
Yeah.
like, and if I'm a
Yeah.
quarterback and I'm buying my offensive lineman something, I'm not buying them something that you can turn around and sell.
Bro, yeah, right? They are going to
Yeah.
they're not going to sell it and give the money to Cam. It's not going to happen.
No, like shout out to CJ Stroud for going with the express suits. Like that's again the best thing to do,
Yeah.
right? Not
something
something like you said, Didi, you're gonna wear for a couple of years and then it's gonna sit around and you're gonna be like, use a little liquidity, a little cash.
Yeah.
I'll turn this thing around.
Or do I
With this
really
bad
want to
boy.
remember that 9-3 football season? You know, what are we doing?
Yeah, like
Remember we were out at Benny Hanna's and Cam came around and bought us all necklaces with our names on it.
They did the flaming
What a
onion,
night.
and then he brought out some chains.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Greatest night ever.
But on the other side of NIL, this is the reason why I hate NIL. And it's not because he just wasted all this money, however much money he spent on chains for the linemen. It's the fact that the linemen aren't getting paid NIL money. Cam Ward is.
Didi hates
it's just
quarterbacks.
it's just another highlight of just like there's like two people on each team that are making money. And everyone who watches college football, well, not everyone, but like most people watch college football think of that as being college football players are being paid. No.
Mhm.
The guys who are in the trenches getting the shit kicked out of them are not getting paid. So like, it bothers me that the NCAA has just been able to just get away with this. And
Yeah.
it's because they're just like, they just float all these numbers. Shador Sanders is making $10 million this year. This person's making this. And it's like, well, the guy on the scout team still getting the shit kicked out of him. The guy who has to act like Cam Ward in Clemson is freaking not getting paid, guys. He's just fast. And he just gets the shit kicked out of him for a week. Like,
It's also so weird that like a high school student can't accept a hamburger from a college football coach, but like you can just blatantly gift people things that you got from NIL money. Like right there for the public to see. Like, okay. I see where we are. I see where we are.
It's funny you use a hamburger example, Dan, because some schools in the past were busted for putting hundreds of thousands of dollars in fast food bags to give
In the fast food bags, yeah.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Now they're just like, here, have a Wendy's. This is yours.
Yeah. Salted caramel frosties are out, baby. Take one. Take one for the road.
I like the way Ohio State did it. Ohio State got in a lot of trouble, but I enjoyed the way that Ohio State did their stuff. Like, they were like, no, you're going to come babysit my kid. Really, you're not babysitting. You're going to play video games with my kid, and then you're going to leave with a check. I like that. Because I like that. I really like that. I'm a big fan. So, like, Maurice Clark got in all this trouble. Shouldn't have. Ohio State, you guys were doing it right. So, tell to you. You weren't just giving people money. You were making people do a service.
Well, maybe he shouldn't have showed up to babysitting with a gun and a bottle of Grey Goose like that. That might have been part of it.
You don't even have to drive with insurance in Ohio. You think a bottle of Grey Goose and a gun, playing a little NCAA 2005, this is the bad thing. Come on. All right, boys. Well, let's get into music. We've been going, so let's get into music. What are we listening to this week, guys?
I'll go
Dan?
first. That's Chris. Yeah, why not?
That's right.
My homegirl. She's back. Benny. She's back on the playlist. We've got a new song from Benny called Animal. She really does like bring the best of like alternative and pop together. And I love it. At any time Benny releases a track, it's finding its way onto this playlist. It was also just announced, very, very exciting. She's going to be opening for Tate McRae on her European tour, which I'm super excited about. Just in general, it's going to be amazing. But Benny, my girl, welcome back. The track is Animal.
She's like rapping on it.
Yeah, it's different, and it takes you through a journey. The way it starts, where it gets into the chorus, it takes you through a journey. It's different.
Yeah. Chris, what you got?
I've been binging the story so far over the past week. I've needed a bit more energy lately because sleep's not going well over here, boys. Okay, but if you need
It's dark early.
Yeah, and maybe just my kids are
Brings the mood
terrorists. But
down.
either way, I've needed a little kick in the pants. Okay, so I've been listening to their 2011 album, Under Soil and Dirt, and I think like the song High Regard might be the perfect pop punk song. It's just, we'll put it on you can listen to it. It is so good. Parker Cannon's vocals are so like distinctly different than anybody else's, and it brings so much energy, and I just love it. So that's the main thing I've been listening to this week.
You give it your highest regard. Song High Regard.
I do.
Perfect.
All right. Let's go to so Rex Orange County, when Dan was in town, we went to go see Rex Orange County, and I've had amazing in my head since that show.
Oh,
So Rex Orange County, amazing. Put it on the playlist.
excellent choice, my friend. Excellent choice. Amazing show, by the
Yeah.
way. Lincoln Park. I'm doing it. The new album came out from Zero this past week, and obviously the choice of the new lead singer and just the overall sound of Lincoln Park now, it's a little controversial, polarizing topic, if you will. But this song, Two Faced, I'm going to put on the playlist because it gives me some kind of old school Linkin Park vibes, and I dig that. It's old school type of feels. The chorus is pretty catchy. So yeah, I'm showing Linkin Park a little bit of love this week with the song Two Faced.
Nice.
When I think peak Lincoln Park, I think Daniel Dudley at Star Lake
Yeah,
in the pit.
me too. That's how I think of it.
Good
And Mike
times.
Shinoda rapping. I haven't listened to the album yet, so I haven't listened yet, but I'm excited to listen.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive into a band that's far less popular. My next pick is a pop punk band from New Jersey called North Vale. Sub 10,000 alert, boys. Less than 10,000 monthly listeners, which means
In early.
it's basically just me listening, but let's all get in early. Okay, stock slow, but it's going to rise. They put out a new song called Hang In There, Kid. I don't know, man. Like, at any one time, I need to have one of those pop punk bands that nobody's listening to, and like maybe the production quality isn't, you know, what you hear on the radio, but it's a little grittier, and it just makes you feel like like you're going to see a band play at like a VFW. Sometimes I need that. Okay, so let's enjoy it.
Shout out to Orange Drink. Feel those vibes.
That's what I'm
Been
saying.
Shout out the VFWs everywhere.
there.
Doing it big. That's to everybody. All right. Another show we went to, Queen Herbie. The surprise.
Oh man.
One of the weirdest shows I've ever been to in my life. But the song The Show, I'm gonna put that on the playlist. So yeah. The Show by Queen Herbie.
Indeed, one of the weirdest but also most entertaining shows I've ever been to in my entire life. Just masterpiece. Masterpiece. Last song for me, new artist alert. And I'm gonna give a little shout out to my coworker who actually turned me onto this artist to say, "Hey, have you heard of Xenadelphia?" And I was like, "Who?" Xenadelphia. And I said, "No, tell me about her."
Spell it. Spell it.
Zina Delphia,
I don't like it.
just like you would Philadelphia.
No, I'm not.
And the way that this artist describes her music is burlesque, disco, old Hollywood Western, and soul combined.
What?
It's a lot going on there, right? It's a lot going on there.
It's too
I'm going to
much.
put the song Love Language on the playlist. And what I get from this song, I get big Remy Wolf vibes, which is right up your boy's alley, which is why she was like, "You're going to like this artist." Big Remy Wolf vibes, maybe just a small little sprinkle of like Amy Winehouse and Teddy Swims. And she actually opened for Teddy Swims a while back. Very fitting. Yeah, Xenadelphia, all in. Put the chips in the table, people, for the song Love Language.
Beautiful.
All right. My last one this week is from Less Than Jake. They put out a new album called Uncharted. Only 7 songs, only 22 minutes. Highly recommend you spend your drive to work one day listening to the entire album. I'm going to put Sunny Side on the playlist. And man, a lot of music lately for me that just it feels like I'm playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and I don't hate it.
Well, I'm gonna add to that because I was gonna go one way and I'll go another way. I'll save it for the next one. State Champs.
Mm,
Oh,
So heard this on a playlist. Save Face Story.
mm,
Freaking love it. Great song.
let's go.
And vocals are amazing on it. That's the thing that stands out the most. But yeah, State Champs, friend of the Brunch Breakdown, and this is a really, really good song. So check it out. Save Face Story, State Champs.
Let's go. Didi, one day
nice.
you'll
Look at
be
that.
the state champ of your race with Usain Bolt.
Probably not. Get too nervous and he'll still beat me. Oh, well, that's what we're listening to. Check out the playlist on Spotify, updated every week. It's got 2 weeks of songs on it, so check it out. Tell Siri, tell Alexa to play the sounds of Brunch. Boys, another great episode. We even left 2 topics for the leftover episode, which I can't wait to get to because Thanksgiving's coming up. Any final thoughts today, sirs? Sirs? Is that a thing? Sirs?
Sirs? Plural of
Sirs?
sirs.
All right.
Cam Ward's an idiot, and Netflix is terrible.
And that's the Brunch Breakdown. We're out.